Okay. Good to have you all here this evening. Welcome on behalf of Montgomery County Eagle-Forum and on behalf of the City of Shenandoah, who so graciously opened up their facility for us. And again, we thank Shenandoah for doing that. And of course, being a conservative Christian group, we would like to open our meeting this evening with prayer. Brother Scott is going to come and lead us in prayer. If you would please stand.
Have a seat.
No pledge.
Okay, our format is the same one we've used for quite a while. Each candidate will have a 2-minute opening statement. They drew places beforehand, and Mrs. Bush will get to go first, and Mrs. Davenport second. All the questions will come from you out in the audience. Questions, not speeches, please. You'll have 1 minute to step up to the podium and ask your question. If during the session you think of a great question, but you forgot to put your name in the bucket, just step outside, put it in, and we'll bring those in. Give everybody as much a chance as possible, okay? You get, as I said, 1 minute to ask the question. Each candidate will have an opportunity for a 1-minute rebuttal. Actually, they get 2 chances. They have a slip of paper up there, and they'll hold it up. I'll go take it, and they get a 1-minute rebuttal. But there's only 2 per evening per candidate. And each candidate then will have a 2-minute closing statement after all your questions have thoroughly covered the topic. Okay? Our timer is sitting here in the front row. She has nice big numbers there to help remind the candidates of their time. And basically, come up with some good questions. These are people who have come to work for us, offer their services, so let's be courteous. If you have pointed questions, be gentlemanly or ladylike in asking them, please. And with that, I think we will start with our opening statements. Mrs. Bush, would you like to start?
Thank you to the Eagle-Forum and to all of you for attending. I really appreciate the opportunity to come before you and to interview for this job. I really view the election process as an interview process, and you, the voters, are the boss. A little bit about me: I currently serve on CISD's board as school board president, serving our 61,500 students and over 7,000 employees. I own Better Bookkeepers, a bookkeeping firm employing over 15 employees. I graduated from Southern Methodist University with 3 degrees in 4 years while working my way through school. And I'm married to Alan and have 2 amazing daughters. I'm very active in many organizations in the Montgomery County area, and I serve in my church's youth group. I'm running for county treasurer because this office needs reformed, and my accounting experience has positioned me to bring new ideas to this office. We need to innovate and look for ways to modernize and streamline processes. In my business, I've helped many small businesses and nonprofits manage their affairs into clean and efficient books. I've put in the hard work, I've put in the time to develop lean processes both for my clients and for my firm. And although it's very detail-oriented, we've continued to find new ways to improve our processes. You'll hear how this office's budget was lowered by 7.2% this year. But since the time of Martha Gustafson's retirement in 2013, the budget for the fiscal year 2017-18 is 9.8% higher, with 1 less staff person and little change in the way things are done. That would mean that it actually had a 17% increase in 4 short years. I look forward to answering all your questions tonight. Thank you again for being here.
All right, I want to say as well, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you to Betty and Paul for putting this event together in the Eagle-Forum as well. I know many of us here tonight read social media, and as an elected official, I both understand and respect the fact that my life is subject to scrutiny and openness. I think tonight's the perfect opportunity for you and for us, the audience, to ask me any questions that you want to know. I'm here to address your concerns and answer those questions. So, good evening. My name is Stephanie Davenport, and I am your Montgomery County Treasurer. I can tell you today that you have $421,892,117.55 all safely deposited and invested, All of your county bills are paid and all of your employees are paid. As custodian of the county funds, it's my responsibility to account for all monies coming into the county and all monies going out of the county, as well as to protect and ensure safety of those funds. It's important that I know what the balances are, that I pay attention to maturity dates, always knowing what investment dollars are available by watching the cash flow analysis that my department has created. And all of these pieces allow me to follow the conservative investment policy, and even in these market conditions, to get a healthy rate of return, but we managed to do it. And just last year, we exceeded the expected budgeted investment revenue by $2.5 million. So my office is responsible for county investments, processing payroll, accounts payable and juror payments, cash receipting, bank reconciliation, administration of the bail bond board, and unclaimed funds from Montgomery County. And I'll tell you the rest later because I think I'm about out of time. But thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you. As I said, all questions will come from you. And now looking. Judy Marshall.
May I defer to someone else that's sitting next to me?
They should put their name in the bucket.
Their name is in there.
Okay, then they'll get a chance to be wrong. But we don't trade.
Okay.
If you would
All right.
like to ask yours,
My question.
if you would step up to the microphone so that the entire audience can hear, and you have a full minute to ask your question. You can address it to either one, but both can answer if they choose.
This is to Stephanie Davenport. What was the budget that you had in 2013 when you came into the office? And what was the budget at the end in 2017?
Okay, I don't remember what my budget was in 2013. I did not bring those numbers with me, but I would be glad to follow up with you and let you know.
Okay, and...
My current budget is $695,000.
Okay. And the budget for 2018 is...
That's my current.
Current budget?
Yes.
Okay. That was the question I wanted. Thanks, Stephanie.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
May I also respond to that? Since
Yep.
I do have the budget number for 13. Okay. For 14, the fiscal year budget was $626,564. And at the end of 17, I think you were asking, it was $726,602. So.
Thank you.
Next questioner will be Sherry Harwell.
Good evening. Thank you to the Montgomery County Eagle-Forum for hosting this event, and of course the City of Shenandoah, and also thanks to both of you for being here this evening to respond to our questions. My name is Sherry Harrell, and I'm a resident in Montgomery County Precinct 76 for 23 years. My opinion and my belief is this county is rife with corruption and at the very least poor ethics. Please tell us what each of you will do if elected to provide full transparency of your office, and how will each of you conduct yourselves in an ethical manner such as to restore the faith of the voters you are elected to serve. Thank you. It's to each of you.
Ms. Bush, would you like to go first?
So I think that transparency is obviously very important. That's one of the core tenets in the openness in my campaign. In order to do that, I do think that we should be voluntarily putting our check register online like the Travis County, which is one of the most liberal counties in our state, does. In addition to that, I think that you should be able to ask me any questions and know that I am completely independent of any other elected officials or any beholden to anyone. That is a very important thing to me, and ethically, I think as someone who is handling the finances for our county, we need to maintain that independence.
All right, I think a lack of transparency creates distrust. Transparency is listed in the Republican Party platform. It's very important. It's important to me, just like it's important to you. So I agree. I think that we need to be as transparent as possible. And I will be glad to teach Melanie how to use the OpenGov web portal, where our check registers are available online, as well as all of the reporting that we already put online that we provide so that we can show you. It's like I said it in simple terms, where our department accounts for all monies in and all monies out. And so we have to keep all of that information available to you on the website, which we do that as well. But yes, I agree. I think transparency is very important. It's one of the things that we work hard to accomplish and to accommodate in our department. We respond to open records requests in a timely fashion, and always try to respond with what information they're requesting, and if we don't have the format they ask for it in, we try to work with that as well so that we can provide it to them in the manner that they need it.
Thank you. Next question. Sherry Shorten.
I hear a lot of comparisons between Martha Gustafson's regime and the current way the Treasurer's Office is run. My question is, how much has changed in the Treasurer's Office since Martha Gustafson left?
Are you addressing that?
I'd like you to start, Ms. Davenport.
Okay. Martha, when she retired midterm, she retired in 2013, and I was appointed by the court. We had to go through an interview process, and I was appointed by the court in 2013 to fulfill her term, and then I was elected in 2014. There's many changes to the department. One is, like I said, I've reduced my staff by one. That's reducing my staff by 18%, and I accomplished that through attrition, but also through getting the depth in the department, through team exercises, through training and cross-training, which allowed us to get rid of that siloed mentality and spread the knowledge throughout the department. I brought investments back to the department. When I took office, the investments were being handled by the county auditor. They were being managed by the county auditor. Martha had stated that she felt overwhelmed by that, so that statutory responsibility was taken away from our department. I brought that back, and now we manage the investment portfolio. Our department, when I took office, we generated revenue codes to process cash receipting. Before my tenure, everything was basically dumped into one bucket, and then the auditor divided all of those and allocated them out accordingly. Now we do the allocation, and then the auditor audits our work. So I said I've reduced my budget by 7.2% and 18%. Melanie is correct in that my budget has increased, but that has been through cost of living increases that were granted by the Commissioner's Court. You reward your staff for performance, and I am very impressed and happy with my staff. And I believe they deserved it. I think I'm out of time.
She would know what's changed since she's been in the office. I will tell you that from talking to other people, there doesn't seem to be much change in the way the processes are handled. While she has put those processes in writing, no one has actually seen them as of yet. I know that the county attorney did not get but a small sample. That was one of the things I wanted to look at in order to know what has changed. Having discussed things with Mrs. Gustafson, she was a CIO as well as two other people on her staff, and so I have a hard time. I would have to ask her if she did not handle investments, and since she's not here, I don't know that answer right now. But I do know that the processes, the financial system we're using, have not changed. Mrs. Davenport ran on a platform of modernizing this office. She's had 4 years to do that, and that has not happened.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amy Van Horn.
I know that pro-life has nothing to do with the county treasurer, but I see that the Texas Right to Life has endorsed Melanie Bush. I didn't know, I wanted to know why her and not Stephanie. I think are you both pro-life?
I believe so.
How did you get the endorsement over Stephanie?
I know that I went and vetted with them. I don't know if Ms. Davenport did. As for why they would pick me over them, you would have to ask them specifically. I've been very involved with Pregnancy Assistance Center North for many years.
Okay.
And so that is probably one of the basis of their choosing to endorse myself. My husband actually counseled their boyfriends while I was on their events committee. One of the things that he and I agreed to when he started counseling was that I was not going to do that because his concern that I would end up coming home with lots of babies, because my heart is just so big that if someone wanted to give their child up for adoption, that I would end up wanting to adopt all those kids. So that's probably plays a big part in that. As
Okay.
for why they did not her, I do not know.
Stephanie, do you have any comment?
My understanding is that typically Texas Right to Life doesn't get involved in the local level. It's mainly, they deal with races where they can make change legislatively.
Yeah.
I did have several people who actually called Texas Right to Life and Montgomery County Right to Life, because I'm heavily involved with Montgomery County Right to Life, and just to find out why or what the process was. And they do not do formal vetting. They let you reach out to them, is what I was told. So I can't tell you why, but it doesn't change my involvement with Montgomery County Right to Life. Teresa Strack and I work well together. I have had her come and speak at many of the Republican women's luncheons. I think at one that you
Yes, she
attended.
did, yeah.
And, you know, we help them with their billboard campaign. So I'm very proud of my involvement with them. And I'm very happy with Montgomery County Right to Life.
Okay, thank you. I just want to clear that up. Yeah.
Sure.
Next question will come from Mr. Yalik.
My name is Eric Yalik, and my question is about the enterprise resource planning that apparently the county government is considering. Normally, as a taxpayer, I wouldn't really be that excited about it, except for the fact that the dollar amounts are so high that are being discussed. And I was wondering if, from both of you, if y'all could talk about, number one, your understanding of what the cost will likely be to the taxpayers, and number two, whether or not there's been a cost-benefit analysis to let the taxpayers know how much money the ERP system might save the taxpayers. Thanks.
Okay.
Dan,
Do you
what
mind?
would you like to leave?
Yes, please. I serve on the ERP committee. I co-chair that with the county auditor. I'm really excited about what's to come. I am kind of handcuffed. I can't give a whole lot of detail because by statute, and JD, you may have to kind of legalese this for me. But by statute, we cannot discuss vendor negotiations until the contract has been awarded. But we are ready, we are prepared to talk to commissioners about this, and we actually are providing them all of the information that Mr. Yalik mentioned. But were you here that we fall short in technology? I believe that we do. And in the interim, my department has implemented many processes to shorten the time that it has taken to process payroll. That was part of the reason I was able to reduce my staff, was because we have decreased the time it takes to do payroll by about 10%, which is huge whenever you think about the fact that we run payroll for 2,500 employees. And we also do an annual payroll workshop where we bring in all the departments, the elected officials and their admins that work with payroll, and we help keep them up on all the latest, any IRS regulations or any codes that have changed, any risk management having to do with benefits, any changes there, so that people aren't trying to do it the way they've always done it. We're reminding them, utilize the intranet, make sure you're using the latest and greatest in all of the forms that we have. So, it's a constant, it's not just a one and done. We're constantly looking ways to innovate, even with an antiquated, DOS-based system that is blue screen, So it's a constant, it's a constant struggle, but we make it work.
Thank you.
I've heard that the system is 30 million, I've heard it's 10 million, I've heard it's 7 million. We won't know until they take the contract before Commissioners Court, as Ms. Davenport said, due to statute. I do know that they are in the process of starting to build out some space in, next to the county attorney's office to house the implementation team. So there's a cost that is, depending upon how they say it, maybe not factored in. In addition to that, it's going to take 26 months, I believe you said, in order to implement this system. And I know that when other counties have implemented similar ERPs, if not the same one, the implementation has actually stretched on longer than that. As I said, Travis County is currently on year 8 of implementing their ERP. And that's something we need to make sure that we avoid as a county. We don't need this to linger. We need to make sure that we get up and running effectively and as efficiently as possible. And so the staff time may not also be presented as factored into the 7, the 10, the $30 million costs that keep being batted around.
You're coming up with some more questions. There is a bucket out there. You can put your name in still. We're going to be running out here fairly soon. Denise Lavolette, did I come anywhere close?
Lavalette.
Okay.
Hello. My question is for Stephanie. Isn't it true after an IRS audit in 2015, they discovered you filed your 2013 joint income taxes incorrectly? With your ex-spouse, you owed the IRS a sum of approximately $6,600, which you are still disputing your half to this day after your ex has already paid his half.
Okay. It is true. In 2014, I was going through a divorce. We're going to get personal here, and I guess full disclosure, Denise is my ex-husband's wife.
The stepmother of her son.
So it is true. Donald had taken a loan out on his 401k in 2013, and when he changed jobs, the balance became taxable. Donald and I were not living together when he filed the return. He did not give me the 1099-R. It wasn't included on the tax return. When we got notified by the IRS, I cut a check for my half. And you're welcome to take it with you, but this is what was sent to the IRS. It's paid in full.
They're still disputing that you haven't paid it, so
It's
that was
paid
my
in full.
question.
Got any
Thank you.
comment, Mrs. Bush?
No.
Gail Stone? I told you we'd get to her.
This is for you, Stephanie. How is a high school diploma an adequate document to qualify as Montgomery County Treasurer for handling millions of dollars of county funds? Now, I know that you worked with your parents and they believed they had a CPA firm, but just because they were CPAs doesn't make you one. So
Agreed.
tell me, how did you get all this experience to qualify for your position?
Okay, so I have 15 years of tax and accounting, and it is true, when I worked under a CPA, I worked for my father. I have 15 years of payroll experience. I know payroll law, payroll rules and regulations. I've had continuing education courses. I have more than a high school diploma though, Gail. I do have my associate's degree. It's something that Eric always likes to leave off every time he writes an article about me. So you were incorrect there. I do have an associate's degree. But I have a wealth of knowledge.
Okay. Do you have anything to say about that, Melanie? Because you have 3 degrees, and I really believe the people of Montgomery County really
May I ask
need to
a question, please?
have to look at what these 2 people offer and decide. I really leave it up to you. After hearing these 2 speak of their education. I just really feel it's important. So that was my question. What was the difference
Thank you.
between yours and hers?
Mrs. Bush, do you have anything to say?
No.
We don't allow follow-up questions. It screws up the timing a lot, and so
If
if you
you
could
would
just...
make it one question.
Yeah, because it eats into their time, they're talking, and so I don't think...
Make sure that everybody gets the maximum chance. Mary Brown.
My question has already been asked and answered.
Okay. We did get some one or two new slips. There's still time to put more in. Mark Frank. Okay.
You have to answer this, you don't get a choice.
I will answer any question.
So in life, time is money, and I'm a firm believer in that. So peak efficiency will always be crucial in making sure that the conservation of our financial future for our children and our children to even come past that. So here is the question. What is one thing that you've done to create efficiency in regards to procedures to safeguard the future?
Okay. To answer that question, I've done a lot with that, with my clients' businesses and also with mine. So in order to do that, we sat down and taken a good hard look at things, and we've created procedures. But then you don't stop there. We are constantly evaluating. So with our clients and internally, we are looking at our procedures either on a weekly, a monthly, or when we have things like payroll tax deadlines and 1099s, which is right now, looking at those processes before we head into that next season. So we're constantly, it's not a one-time thing, it's a constant evaluation of processes to ensure that we are being the most efficient we possibly can.
I believe that it is a constant effort. You are always looking out for the future. You're never stuck in today. In my department, we always say, just say no to status quo. Well, we say that, and then our other motto is it has to be right. We don't, you don't always achieve perfection, but you always strive for excellence. So you're always looking for what can you do to improve upon what you're already doing, which is part of how the creation of the procedure guides came about. That, and from a conservation standpoint, the procedure guides ensure that we're always going to be able to watch over and safeguard your funds. And anyhow, that's it. Thank you.
Orville Jolly.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Everyone, thank you for having this forum for us. Now, I have one simple question that doesn't have to be answered with an essay, but just basically for both of you. What is your definition of a manual as opposed to a procedure? Now, that's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you.
A manual is something bare bones. It's what you could download off of QuickBooks.com. A procedure guide is a continuity plan. It ensures that, let's say, my financial analyst is in a car wreck and she breaks her arms and her legs and she's stuck in the hospital and she cannot help us. We are able to ensure that her responsibilities are completed in a timely manner, which allows us to ensure that we're keeping up with local government code, state law. It ensures that all 2,500 employees will be paid every 2 weeks without fail. And that is the difference. A manual is something that is going to walk you through a few different, the different screens within a program. The procedure guides walks you through how Montgomery County does it, how we do it today. And anytime that we learn new ways to streamline or we have process improvements, we update those procedure guides, continuity plans, to ensure that they're always up to date.
I would agree. Operations manual, a software operations manual includes software. It includes those screenshots of how to do it. A procedure is the process you take. It is the method in which you're doing it. It doesn't include usernames, it doesn't include passwords, it doesn't include anything other than the process, the procedures that you're taking. A cash handling procedure, for example, would be an option. How you actually receive money when other departments bring cash in, and what you do with it, with the double checks of person A counts the money, person B counts the money again to make sure that it's correct. They then create the deposit slip. It's a guide of how to do the job. That's a procedure. A manual is usually an operations manual, but a lot of people call procedure manuals because it's all their procedures put together in one guide.
Come on. Stubborn question. John Bowman.
Good evening. My question is really for Mrs. Davenport. And it's more really a question about how things work in the county for my own edification and maybe for the edification of people here.
John, could you speak up just a little bit?
Okay, you say that the treasurer's office is responsible for all the money coming into the county. And I note from some reporting that recently came out from the Golden Hammer, 4 out of the 5 JP offices in the county use a software system that's different than the software system used by the rest of the departments in the county that bring money into the county. That report also indicates that the amount of arrears in payment of fines in those 4 courts are much higher than the arrears in the one court that's using the county system. I also note, independently of that, that there is a collections office in the county that reports to the county treasurer. I don't quite, county clerk. I don't quite understand the reporting there, but and that court, that's the JP court, which is 3, that has the very high collection rate, it uses that collector office. My question is, who's responsible for the funds coming into the other 4 JP offices, and why are they not using the county collection office?
Ms. Bush, I think you were first.
He said it was for Mrs.
It's for
Davenport.
Mrs. Davenport.
I think that would really, that question's going to be best answered at a JP forum. I don't know why the other 4 opted to go with a different software package. I know that they felt that that was the best solution for them.
Yeah, my question isn't so much of...
One question.
Yeah, but the clarification of the question. The question wasn't about the software packages. If the treasurer's office is responsible for the money coming in, then presumably you're responsible for receivables as well as actual funds that come in?
We're responsible for the deposits. When the deposits come in, we account for those funds coming in. The reporting on the collection side is not maintained in my department.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Bush, you have any comment? No. No? Okay. Oh, we got a few more. I'll take it. Ginger Russell.
I just want to make a comment. You're for transparency.
Questions, please.
Oh, I can't make a comment. Well, I'm done then.
If you could phrase it as a question.
Okay, here we go. Just for transparency reasons, Mark Davenport's your husband, and he is one of Doyle's right-hand guys. He's also involved in the Toma case that we're waiting to hear back from in the Court of Appeals. I just don't think it's very good to have you sitting, or Stephanie Davenport sitting on the Treasury or being our treasurer for the county. I think it's just too close for comfort. How is that being transparent with the people? I guess I got a question here.
Okay, well, you know, and I feel like I have addressed that. Everything that I do whenever it comes to accounting for your funds, and it's your money, it's taxpayer monies that we account for, all of that, we are very transparent. There is reporting requirements that we abide by. So, you know, you're trying to make a connection between Mark and I and the county funds, and it isn't there. It is not there, Ginger.
tried to get away. Jim Howard. One minute for a question.
I was just going to ask, when I heard $30 million plus or minus, what is ERP?
Oh, it's an enterprise resource platform. It is a finance system. It's a finance system with all the other modules for risk management, for timekeeping, for cash receipting. So it will be the county's countywide finance system.
And will this have, oh, I'm sorry, that's it.
Go ahead.
No, and will this have a cost evaluation with the return that we get off of this? Will this be worth the
Absolutely. You'll have
$30
a
million
return on investment. We will have that, well, the report's pretty well completed, but we will have all of that prepared for when the committee takes this before Commissioners Court. And then at that time, then we can disclose all of the information. But we've had a committee that's been working on this for about 2 years, and we have pulled in all of the user departments for this, and we've come up with a really robust solution for the county.
Okay. Ms. Bush, do you have anything to add?
No, I mean,
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have a question? That's what we're here for, is to let you, the voters, have questions. 1 minute, please.
Did I understand you correctly that you're currently operating under a DOS-based system, and if that is
I call
correct?
it DOS-based. It's actually on a Unix box, I believe, but
If that was correct, I'd like to know why it's there yet.
right. And the county has outgrown the finance system. It works really well from an accounting standpoint, from the GL standpoint. The finance system's great, but all the other pieces, it's outdated, and it's definitely time for us to look at new options. But we've gotten our money's worth out of it.
The vendor is no longer even in business, and
Well, it's
been
sold to SunGard.
So it's been there for 20 years. So it's very outdated. You can't view reports without printing them. As we've talked about, there is no, timekeeping software. There is, manual timesheets are having to be done. In addition to that, with the payroll, you can't electronically send copies of pay stubs or direct deposit. They actually are printing the direct deposit stubs. I mean, this system has been outdated for 10 years plus.
Any other questions from the audience? Since I didn't get to draw your name, if you'll give your name when you come in.
I'm Bryce Hurst from here in Shenandoah, and can each of you say how much experience you have on enterprise resource planning implementation?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
2 years. This is my first experience going through a complete ERP system change. We have hired, to achieve best practice, we've hired a consulting firm called Plant Moran, and we have been working with them for about a year now. And they have helped keep us on track and keep us moving, and they have been a very important part of the contract negotiations, working closely with the county attorney's office. And we look forward to working with them as we continue to go through this process.
I would also say neither one of us have experience actually doing the implementation. Ms. Davenport has been in the office since 2013, and the system's been in place for 20 years. So both of us would be learning through that implementation process and relying on those that have done it before and on the consultants.
Better quit now.
Last chance for a question from the audience.
Can I ask a second question?
Nobody else is going to ask, just one.
I don't want to take anybody else's time.
Make it brief.
I just have one quick question.
Good.
Ms. Bush, I know that you have said several times, I've listened, that you have this great, successful, better bookkeepers business, and it's been in business for quite a while, and you've developed quite a following and so forth. Can you kind of justify how you go from, how are you going to run a business and a full-time job as a county treasurer?
I'm not going to run a business. as full-time job as a county treasurer. It is a full-time job.
Yes.
I have a manager that's been with me for 6 years, and before we decided to run for this office, and my husband and I discussed it, he and I decided, okay, let's run it through a couple more filters. One was my business partner, who I've been in partnership with for several years, and he agreed, yes, that's perfectly fine. Then I talked to my manager about it and saw if she was willing to take over the reins of running it day to day. We work with small, medium-sized businesses, nonprofits. That is a day-to-day job. When the time comes that I'm as county treasurer, I will not have anything to do with running my business. I have people in place. That's part of owning a business, is planning for your exit. From the moment you start running a business, you need to be planning for your exit. And that's what I've done, is built an amazing, incredible team that is able and willing to take it over. And I will not continue to run my business. I also will be in the job every day, serving the taxpayers, not being involved in tons of other organizations or anything along those lines, but actually be there serving the taxpayers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Davenport, you have any comment?
No.
There are no more questions. One last chance. Then we have our closing statements, two apiece. So, Mrs. Davenport, would you like to lead off?
I really appreciate y'all tonight. I appreciate you asking me some tough questions that are probably tougher on me than they were on you. The only thing I'm going to say is I think that this race comes down to character and integrity. I believe I have shown that I have both. I hate to see that politics have taken us down a very dark road. You saw me get grilled by my ex-husband's new wife, and then you saw me get grilled by the lady who shaved my head when I was going through chemo. I don't know how we got where we are. I know that Montgomery County means everything to me. I'm very proud to be here. It is an absolute honor to represent you. I know that there is some kind of shadow campaign going on where you all are getting a lot of private messages from people who have their own agenda. Reach out to me. It would mean the world to me if you would talk to me. I'm here for you. You see me out in the public all the time. I'm behind my desk when I'm not out in the public. My office is a full-time job for me as well, and so is my community involvement. I think I may have made this job look too easy. All my adult life I've worked 2 jobs. I've always had a second revenue stream. With this job, my job is my job, and then you could say my second responsibility is my community involvement. I take the public servant side of my job extremely serious, and I'm glad to lend my voice to over 15 nonprofits. So if you have any questions, I will be around after this forum, and I would love to talk with you. Thank you.
In closing, despite running on a platform in 2014 of modernization, it is still using the same financial system in this office. And 4 years is a long time to have just now be getting to the point where we're looking at a new ERP and bringing it before the court. We've heard that this new software is coming, and it is. And I know that that's around the corner, but the software only does so much. The software is a tool. We have to continue to work on our processes. We have to work on those procedures, and that's what I've done. That's what I've built my business around. Openness, transparency has become an issue of this campaign. And I vow to bring this back to this office. As we've talked about, Travis County is one of the most liberal, and they do voluntarily post their check register as a PDF that is very easily read by anyone in the public, as opposed to OpenGov, which I have looked at, Mrs. Davenport, and it is not very user-friendly. And I think that this is very important for our county. This was brought before the state legislature to do, and our county treasurer argued against it. That's not transparency. That's not openness. Montgomery County should be leading in this area, and that's what I vow to do. Secondly, we talk about independence. We talk about being ethical in office and having integrity. I think that is something that you have seen from me in school board. You've seen that I know no one anything. There are a lot of people in this room that did not support me for my school board bid. There are a lot of groups. I had formidable opposition in the South County parking lot for school board, but that now are supporting me because I continue to work with people. That's what's important. I look forward to earning your vote.
We thank both candidates. We thank you for showing up and learning about the candidates. We'll take a short break.